Tonight, dear listeners, I invite you to gather by the warm glow of our cozy fireside. Our story this evening is one of strained brotherhood, tested under fire, and of the unexpected power of grace. As the flames dance, listen close, for what started as a fractured friendship will be forged anew through tragedy, faith, and surprising hope. This is a tale from the Gulf in the 1990s, where two Navy sailors discover that sometimes the greatest battles are fought in the heart. It was the spring of 1991. In the quiet suburb of Chesapeake, Virginia, two young men, Ethan and Mark, grew up as neighbors and classmates. Ethan, born and raised on Cedar Street, was polite and steady. Mark, a boy from Norfolk, was brash and impulsive. Their childhood friendship had begun strong. Treehouse adventures by Lake Whitehurst, fishing on weekends, dreams of heroic futures. But as they entered high school at Great Bridge High, clashes grew. Mark, eager to prove himself, took reckless risks, stealing cars, racing down Battlefield Boulevard. Ethan, watching anxiously, tried to keep him grounded. A serious accident ended that era. Mark crashed his father's pickup, severely injuring a classmate. He was expelled. Ethan, embarrassed and angry by Mark's recklessness, stopped speaking to him. Years passed. Ethan joined the Navy. So did Mark. Both wound up aboard the USS Eisenhower, deployed for Operation Desert Storm. Fate, it seemed, refused to extinguish the flame between them. They saw each other again on the flight deck one sunny afternoon in Norfolk before departure. Mark offered a stiff nod. Ethan barely acknowledged him. They were shipmates now, but not friends. In the Gulf, the heat was merciless. Sandstorms blurred the horizon, night raids, sonar sweeps, tense watches. Each night, Ethan and Mark ended their watches with little more than curt greetings. But then came the raid on a coastal installation, and everything changed. Under missile fire, alarm klaxons, and smoke, they fought side by side. Ethan manned a fire hose to cool the engines. Mark secured tons of heavy gear to prevent it sliding into flooded compartments. Amid the chaos, Mark spotted a mortar shell lodged dangerously close to crew quarters. Without hesitation, he crawled toward it. Ethan reached out, grabbing Mark's sleeve. "Get back!" Ethan yelled. Mark looked at him, eyes wild with purpose. "Ethan, I've got to..." The shell detonated, a thunderous explosion. Silence. And then, Ethan scrambled through wreckage to find Mark. Lifeless, pinned under debris, paramedics arrived. They pried him loose. But Mark didn't breathe. Ethan returned alone. His heart felt empty. At Mark's wife's house, he'd never even met her. He carried the burden of delivering the news. He knocked on the front door of their modest home on Monroe Avenue in Chesapeake. It creaked open to reveal pale, fearful eyes. Are you a chaplain?" she whispered. Ethan swallowed. I'm Ethan Carter. I served with Mark. He didn't make it." She crumpled. Ethan guided her inside, offered water. They sat at the dining table. The room was quiet, except for her sobs. After a long while, she looked up. "Before he died," she said haltingly, voice trembling, "Mark, he found me. Told me he'd been talking to you, that you both had a falling out. He said he was scared of dying, and he asked me to tell you, I don't want your friendship, Ethan. I want my husband's peace, because he said he's at peace with you. He said he wants you to forgive him, and him, you." Ethan felt as if the earth trembled. "He said that?" She nodded. "He told me you were the best friend he ever had, that you meant more to him than anything." Ethan closed his eyes. The anger he'd carried, 17 years of it, felt heavy. He looked at Mark's wedding ring on the table. He thought of Mark's impulsive youth, of the life they could have had, and above all, he heard the weight of Mark's final words. "I forgive him," he whispered to Mark's widow. Tears streamed down both their faces, not of grief alone, but of release. They prayed together, quiet words asking for comfort, strength, and a future built on grace. In the days that followed, Ethan stayed near Mark's grave, voice steady, sharing stories of their childhood, of fishing by the lake, of Mark's laughter. Local churches organized a memorial service in Chesapeake, and word spread. Mark's act of bravery, heading into danger, became part of his legacy. Ethan found purpose again. He stayed in the Navy, but also began volunteering at a local veteran support group. He and Mark's widow, now a dear friend, started a small scholarship fund for children of fallen service members. On its plaque, in honor of Mark Evans, whose courage and love live on. We've traveled tonight through anger, pain, sacrifice, and ultimately, forgiveness. What can we take from this journey? First, grudges are heavy burdens we don't need to carry. Second, bravery isn't just on the battlefield. It's in admitting mistakes, in seeking reconciliation, in forgiving. And third, even in loss, seeds of hope can grow into acts of kindness that change lives. So I invite you, reach out, mend that strained friendship, offer forgiveness where it's needed. Let empathy guide your actions. Together, we can honor those no longer with us by living lives that reflect love, courage, and grace.